Well, okay.
Jill, it was my English teacher back in the day, so we just wanted to have a bit of an insight of who I was when I was studying and what I went through at the time to get me to where I am now.
I think probably the strongest thing we all noticed and we were, really genuine distressed about was when you developed your eating disorder. It was very distressful. I can remember thinking you shrank in size and you went from being really gregarious to being really reclusive. And so that concerned us. So when John stepped in, we thought it was a brilliant thing. And he's, I had occasion to do that on, quite often. And I think probably what that promoted was that I don't know how in too many schools where you would have got that sort of rescue. But you were such a highly intelligent and sort of, you used to get your teeth into ideas and you were always about investigating stuff and exploring it. And I think John's intervention was so fundamentally important for you.
Do you think with what we're trying to do in terms of raising awareness, if we can get our campaigns into schools and make people see how prevalent these problems are amongst youth, it will definitely benefit because kids don't always have that support network at home.
No, they don't. And a lot of the times, parents have no understanding of what's going on. And the fact that boys, as well as girls, suffer. And I think that's probably the thing about what I've not been really that aware of it until coming to this school, because it is of such a high rigour that students feel that, in order to improve, they have to control every aspect of their environment.
And do you think that's what it comes down to?
Yeah, I do. I think
it's a channel of achievement?
Yeah, I think the kids feel, well, I can't control that. I just don't feel that I'm competent in that field, but I can control me.
That's it. And do you think it sort of stems into other addictive behaviours as well in kids if it's not eating? Just obsessive compulsive disorder?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever else it might be that sort of becomes a bit too much a part of their life and distracts from other aspects and affects that.
Actually, almost they become the disorder.
Yeah.
The manifestation of it, they lose their personality, they lose their connection with other people.
And it's the stigma, I think, that you sort of that gets placed on you by everyone else, and it sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And unless unless you actually have somebody who's willing to intervene, and that's where it's difficult for teachers because we don't actually have the skills.
Yeah.
There are very few. And we have excellent guidance officers here, by the way, but a lot of us, the teachers, feel very helpless, quite vulnerable. Being able to intervene.
So attacking education system is definitely sort of the right way to be going with a foundation like the Rogue Rouge Foundation? Yeah,
and I certainly would not be minimising the amount of guidance officers in schools, which is happening.
Yep.
They're so vital, such a vital role. In fact, we have one guidance officer that deals specifically with learning difficulties and behavioural disorders.
Yep.
And the other one deals with the academic.
Does depression come up really often as well?
A lot. Yeah. And a lot of it is, so much about not being able to control the time that they have. And
because they are confined to school as well.
Yeah.
That becomes really difficult for really creative students who want to be out there.
And you're a kid.
I tried to do a million things when I was at school.
Yeah.
And school really kept me here, and I ended up not coming as much as I should have.
I keep saying to my students that it's school.
Yep.
You're a child.
Yep.
And you can't do everything.
Yep.
I couldn't even do what half the kids are doing here.
Yeah.
I've been teaching a long time, but I prioritise now, and I say, well, I'll put my hand up for so many things, but then I stop.
Yeah.
But I'm an adult. Yeah. I've had that support.
Yeah.
And I've had that knowledge.
You know your limit as well, and you know when your balance is being thrown off, which is huge.
Yeah.
There are people in council that might see this, so if there is something that you can say to education departments or anything even about the arts, would it be that there really does need to be that more support for kids that are going through?
Well, the interesting thing here is that because you're creative, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the academic rigour.
Yep.
I challenge the community to find the, the sixes and sevens out there who are now performing and celebrated and, successful artists.
Yep.
It's not, it doesn't go hand in hand.
It really doesn't. I was always a 4 or 5
Yeah.
student.
And it wasn't, that's not a bad mark. And I keep saying, I've just had interviews with Year 12s about their English marks, and I'm saying to them, well, you're getting a 5. A 5 is good.
Yeah.
A 5 is actually,
above average.
it's an HA
Yeah.
in QSA, so it's a good mark.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, I really love to get a 6 or a 7, and I went, don't worry about it, you're going to get your diploma
But
if you get 24.
The hardship that they sort of put on themselves in not achieving those grades, I think that does stem and affect their self-esteem.
I spent a lot of time in Success actually saying, with diploma, your life begins after school.
Yeah, and it really does. And that's why I think, being an ambassador for a foundation and being young myself, I have the capacity to get that message across. But it needs to be supported by people in your position who have had life experience, who can back it up and have a bit more credibility.
See, I don't think there are many schools that do what we do supportively.
It's true.
So it's time and money, and now the government is evidently saying that they're going to give us less time and less money and larger classes.
Yeah.
And
And the funds are there, they're just being sort of distributed in other places. I just went to an event called Reimagining the Gold Coast.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to that
Right.
and I spoke
Okay.
on behalf of youth, for entrepreneurial youth and the creative fields. And the panel that was there couldn't have agreed more with what I was saying. But up until I spoke, they had just been totally left of centre in what I was saying, completely opposite. And actually listening, I was probably the only teenager there, in the audience.
This is going to be something that you'll be facing as the ambassador all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I think is really interesting, is that still we are chronically ageist in Australian society.
Yeah.
We either don't listen to people who are over 60, or we don't listen to them if they're under 16.
Yeah.
And so
Even under 25.
under 25, yeah, for sure. And so I think there are a lot of societies, communities in the States and in Europe where they value youth.
Yeah, and youth, Young Social Pioneers, a competition that I've just become a part of. Their alumni preaches that as well, and they just partnered with the International Youth Foundation, which is huge, I think, in terms of Australia's future in listening to youth and understanding the importance of how art brings together community and why it does deserve funding, and to support creative youth who are facing these problems, which is really amazing. So the more we push, and I'm in a position now to push those messages, the better it can get.
I agree, and I think there needs to be a lot more humour.
Yeah.
There needs to be more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think lots of issues do get taken too seriously. I know when I was going through, the friends that could sort of make a bit of a joke of it, they were the easiest to be around.
Well,
Sure.
This is the policy I've followed in my English classes as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's love, but it's tough love, and it's said with a joke.
Yeah.
But I hope you are successful, and good luck with everything you do.
Thanks, Jill.
We done?
Yeah.